All right. Hello, new guests, new panelists. All right, we gotta keep the keep the vibes going, keep this energy going. We have all of our panelists checked in for our next panel discussion, which is all about broadcasting from radio to film, TV. That's where we're going to be talking about in this discussion. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. And so I'm glad you're smiling, young wild young, because I'm coming right to you now. You're on that messy TMZ, honey.
Oh,
TMZ. But I want to talk, because we're looking at artists, it's the thing to go viral these days. Do you feel like any publicity is good publicity? Remember that old saying, like even bad, like what's your take on that with working with TMZ?
So what's up, y'all? My name is Wyld Young. I'm an associate producer at TMZ. To answer your question, I feel like one of the things I always tell artists is that even if the big artists you see are like, F this news outlet, best believe somebody on their team has a connection or a phone number to somebody in our building. And one of the things that we talk about in like being the most important thing when it comes to being an artist is like figuring out who the key players are in the media before the media has to report on you. So we, things get a little messy with every probably outlet, radio station, but we got a job to do. And I think the most important thing here is as an artist and as an art team surrounding an artist is to figure out who that connection or who that person is in that building that you need to know.
Gotcha. So the newcomers can't play it like these more veteran artists because they have a connection that can kind of help smooth things out if some stuff goes left with the publicity.
Yeah, just to keep it simple like that. I mean, like I said, all the big names you see, they know somebody, and we know somebody in their teams. And a part of that is not being shady at all. That's just having that relationship. So when those things happen, we reach out. That's our jobs. You know what I'm saying? We always make an attempt to reach out to whatever that team is to kind of figure out what that story is. But like I said, get in front of it before we have to get in front of you, because we coming regardless. I always tell people you can't run from TMZ. Like.
Can't. I remember when I first started broadcasting with GlobeVision, and that's one thing Michael told me. He was like, because I was meeting artists, and I'm like, oh, and he was like, they never know if you TMZ or not. They never know if you got a camera in your pocket. So that's why they kind of being standoffish or weary. But you build that trust with media outlets, and that's when you see things come full circle. So even with being with TMZ, I mean, some artists love those platforms, the shade room and stuff. You see artists coming to those platforms. Even Spiritual Word. Anybody is a fan of Spiritual Word, they have popped up in the last year or so, and they have exclusive access to like the Kanye album listening party in Atlanta. Like they are now on the music scene. What can artists do to, I guess, be on the more good graces and embrace, platforms such as TMZ and Shade Room and whatnot?
Yeah, so like I said, I work at TMZ now, but I've worked in radio. I started out as a radio personality, but just in that, I always tell people, like, reach out to people before something bad happens. I think that in a lot of situations, we'll see an artist drunk at the club or somebody gets a DUI or something. It's like they always report on the bad stuff, but it's like, all right, if your team reached out to us in July and just said, hey, this is what we got going on, we want to pitch this to you guys, just to keep a connection and start and build that relationship. I think that's always the biggest thing is figure out who we are. I'll tell people all the time, you could DM me. My email address is on my Instagram profile. Have your team connect with people in our building just to figure out before some crap happens, who that person is and where that relationship stands. So I always tell people start before anything happens, because best believe by the time something's happened, we already got the information, we already got the video, we didn't call the police, we got everything we need to know. So the best thing for you to do is to start that relationship before anything happens. And also remind us about good stuff. We tell teams all the time, whether your person's doing a turkey drive or toy drive, we want to report on those things. We just aren't notified of them. So it's like you have to kind of work with us so that we can help your public image.
They always say bad news travels faster than good news. So like you got to give us the good news.
You got to give us the good news. And again, that all works towards the artist's public image and working towards your press. You got to make the press work for you.
Right. And I remember GlobeVision, we were out in LA during, it was BET Awards, I want to say 2019. And I listened to a panel discussion, and it had the owner of the Shade Room, Andrea Michelle, and that's what they spoke to. She was like, we actually respect each other. And Drea was saying how, you know, she reached out to me to let me know certain things were hitting the fan before I just woke up and it was on Instagram. And she was like, look, you held me down a lot of times where people just think these platforms are just mess. She was like, sometimes you had insight on some stuff that was coming my way, and you let me know before, you know, so I can deal with it the best way I knew how. But thank you. Look, wow, you brought that energy that we need to start off this panel discussion with the tea, honey. But I also want to have introduction of Miss Tuesday Thomas we have on the line, and also Miss Lillie Jones. If you want to tell you know, the audience about what you ladies do, whoever wants to go first. Wow, thanks for that energy, that TMZ energy. I knew he was gonna bring it with us to get us started.
Okay, well, I'm Tuesday. I'm from the New York area. I'm in a array of fields. So, you know, I classify myself now as an entertainment specialist because of the various fields. But my most prominent and favorite is definitely publicity management, as well as media, being a host, also being in the television and film world. You know, I'm a certified producer, I'm a writer, you know, so I'm in those, you know, various lanes. So, you know, even working with artists, I'm a manager too. So I do manage artists. I've been a publicist before. I still do a little bit of the PR work, but more so focusing on the imaging and focusing more on, you know, the bigger brands and making sure people understand that media, everyone needs media. So like, I'm a media fanatic. I love all my media. I'm part of Media Girls Network as well. So, you know, we're they're based in ATL, but definitely we're at a lot of stuff, press, you know, conference, getting the back behind the scenes of movie premieres, different things like that. But my specialty is definitely in entertainment and also helping with artist development. So I touched on a lot. So I've been in the business for 15 years. Right now, currently, I have a podcast. I'm going to be aiming at shooting some short films, also major films. So I definitely look for a lot of talent. I book talent. I mean, girl, I'm the network queen of New York City. Okay.
So, she got it all. She got it all.
So, you know, but like, you know, Mr. Young was saying, media is very important. And it's crazy because on my last podcast, I had a show called Media Madness. And I definitely was addressing the good publicity, bad publicity, what's happened to the media. Because I was a little, you know, feeling like a little bit the media is straying more towards personal lives, like what's happening personally with the people in, you know, the business versus their careers. So, you know, I was feeling a little, you know, like what's going on? Like we need to, you know, revamp what's going on with media. Right, because I don't care. I don't want to know
the actual
I don't want to know who Kim Kardashian is sleeping with. I want to know what's going on with her line. Now she's a billionaire. Okay, talk about that. But like we you know, Mr. Young, you're gonna have to, you know, touch on that later. All right, Lillie, go ahead, baby. That's my sister.
Thank you, Miss Thomas. Go ahead, Lillie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your girl, Lillie Mae, and you already know what time it is. It's consulting time. And so I'm really here. Let me say this. Let me just preface my introduction by this. I am a business consultant, media correspondent, and public educator, not self-taught. I have been formally trained in a variety of disciplines. So if you need your contracts interpreted legally, I'm credentialed to do so. If you need a session because your socio-emotional wellness is not intact, I'm credentialed to do so. And if you have special education needs, I can do that too. So hence why I'm here this evening on the side of media. Instead of talking about me, I want to talk about the purpose. And one of the things I want to say in my introduction to this topic is, let's define media and public relations because they go hand in hand. Media is a means of broadcasting, publishing, and the internet. It's a way to inform, educate, entertain, and advertise. And I think that we have to address that before we talk about anything else, because I think what's happening is with media, particularly when we get with our independent artists, they only see the entertainment side of media. But when you come over to platforms such as It's Consulting Time, it's about information and education, which realistically, back in the day when our presidents had fireside chats, it was about information and education. But somewhere along the way, we got into broadcast media and the internet. Understand, the internet is the fastest technology in the rate of social adaptation, right? But TV will always be the most widely used form of mass media. That's why a lot of things that you find out in the media, see, our elders and our counterparts know, but we don't know because we're on social media. And the truth, most of the time, is coming from our television, because that is the most widely used form of mass media, right? But now we have new media, websites, blogs, and all of those things. What I want to say and leave you with, so we can dive in, new media. Question everything that is seen, heard, or read in new media. Remember, the FDA does not do anything with new media. Conclude that almost everything is to make money for someone, and assume everything is a potential threat to your privacy. And I say these things because before we get into talking about media with our independent artists, we need to make sure that we clearly define and operationalize the things that we need to talk about so that they understand their rights, but they also understand their responsibilities. And for God's sake, please stop referring to publicists as PR. PR is public relations, which is what is used to build and most often maintain positive public images. Publicists are the people that provide public relations services. I'm done.
Well, thank you for that grand introduction, Miss Lillie. We're going to get the facts straight before we start talking about anything else. So I appreciate you for laying the framework. Because we do use a lot of words in the industry. In life, we use it interchangeably. Like you said, publicists and PR. PR might be the vehicle, but the publicist is the driver that's driving that. Or media, media to me is how it's seen, how we receive it, whether it be through my phone, whether I read it, whether I watch TV, but that's not the actual information. That's just how I'm receiving it. So it's great for us to land that framework so we can just all be on the same conversation as we go forward. Tuesday, you touched that you have touched a lot of different things. So with what Miss Lillie has just said, what is what do you think are the actual components that make for a good multimedia campaign for an artist? What platform should they be on, and how should they approach these said platforms?
I want to say, I stress you be on all platforms. I'm talking about the independent, the online radio, the blogs, because to pay, all right, because another big thing is people have to pay for, the bigger components you want, you have to pay for, and a lot of them don't want to spend the money. So even big artists, depending on how they're looked in the public eye, I would take them to even the mom and pop show, because it just gives back for them. As well, it can also help them, because some people don't look at little medias. They think that, I'm on Spotify, I'm on YouTube, I'm everywhere. But you might think, because my platform is on those little avenues, it doesn't mean it's not important. But it's very important, because guess what? Your image and, the media, you need the media so people can know who you are. Like what Lillie said, social media is our platform right now. So your interview traveling from here, is important. But if you have a budget and you want to do bigger media platforms, it's very hard to get certain platforms, because if you're not a known person, that goes back to being known, you will not be able to have that access. It don't matter how much money you have, because there was one time I submitted an artist for a blog, but if you don't have no other exposure or any musical, your music ain't really out there, you're not really buzzing, they will not write you in that blog. So it's very important to start with everyone. You should be trying to interview with everyone. Me, Lillie, anybody that you could get your hands to in media, you need to be trying to grasp before trying to level up. Because as your career grow, that's when you get to elevate to those platforms. So you just can't think because, oh, I got $1,000, they're gonna put me in. It don't work like that. You have to build your momentum. Start from the bottom and work your way up.
Gotcha.
That's what I have
I'm gonna say. Lillie has already dropped. If you want to add to yourself to her contact list, she's already dropped that. And if you all were listening to the previous panel, that's why Michael met Mr. Derek out in Houston. He had our artists on a press junket. They traveled to Houston to be able to sit down and speak with different media outlets. You have to start somewhere. I remember watching a interview with DaBaby, and that's what he said with him and his first manager. They literally got on a tour bus and they went to every small radio station that manager had connections with to be able to get that out to the people. So once he got big, those other people, they can vouch for him. They had already interviewed him. They helped push his music. So like, what Miss Lillie was getting to too, we can't, social media is there, but we can't ignore the other media platforms. So that's why I wanted you to speak to multimedia. You can't just put all your eggs in TikTok, Instagram. You still need to be reaching out to press junkets, to podcasts, to blog sites, and
big thing which I touched on, remember radio. So I am part of the Fleet DJs. We are worldwide. Okay. If you don't know who Fleet DJs is, you need to get in tune because we're in 50 states. Okay. We break records, just like you said about DaBaby. He was on our show before he was nobody. The Three Migos was on our at our conference when they were nobody. So just imagine they started, you have to attend conferences too. Like the DJ conferences, you need to get to know the DJs because they help other music know you. So that's also part of media.
Yes. Now, Wyld, because I know you said you had a radio background off air, now you're on air. What have you seen to be the advantages of artists between those two media platforms, radio and TV?
Yeah, and I would say kind of like Lillie said, I'm kind of impartial to like old forms of broadcast media, specifically because I started as a radio personality in terrestrial radio. Radio in your car, you turn it on, not Pandora, not Sirius, none of that. It was one of my first jobs was at a small market radio station. I think it was like market number 91. So when you talk about building connections with radio stations, and now I'm in Los Angeles at TMZ. So it's like the artists that I met in market number 91, the teams that I met, I still have those relationships. But I also think it's super important as an artist to figure out in those smaller markets how you can move, how you can work with those radio stations. And it's not just, can you play my music? It's, hey, I got a show coming up this weekend. Can I give y'all 50 tickets for y'all to run a free promotion? So what that does for you now is you have a free radio promotion going on the radio because you just offered that station 20 tickets to your concert just for them to give away on the air. No radio station in the small market is going to turn away tickets to anything. We're struggling as it is now to find promotions. So to come to a radio station and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and not just, can you do this for me? It's, can I give you this? Because best believe they're saying your name, people are going to, one, call up for free tickets on the radio station, but also Google, Instagram, who is this person that they're talking about? It's kind of figuring out what you can do and how you can work with those people. Don't forget about terrestrial radio. I tell people that all the time.
That is some good stuff, because I remember asking earlier on a panel, like, how these men are hosting festivals. It has to connect. How can people get to these festivals and the artists reach these people? But you just gave them, look, free game. Hey, nobody is going to come to see you because they don't know you yet. Help people help you by giving them avenues for them to come to your show. So that's a good point. Miss Lillie, you look like you're burning with some information.
And I am. So I think that before we even talk to our people, and we're media people, we are consultants, we are individuals who have been through in a variety of ranks. I think we first need to talk about media training. And before we even talk about media training, we have to talk about teaching people inbox and email etiquette, how to even address someone. We can't tell people to go to conferences and stuff, and they get there and they just looking in your face, follow me, bro, I'm gonna follow you back. No. My name is such and such and such and such. I would appreciate. You get what I'm saying? So I think that one of the things that we have to do, and I hope that everybody under the sound of my voice is listening, first and foremost, clearly define your brand so that when you come to my media platform, or if you come to me as a consultant and want me to compile your story, I need you to sell your story to me so I can then sell it to everybody else. But I also need you to know who you are as an individual and who you are as an artist, because you're not the same person. And so I think that when we talk about media and we're talking about broadcasting, we really need to teach people how to walk in transparency and live in entertainment, because it's two different things.
You know, I don't know you. It's my first time meeting you, but I read my bios. I do my research so I can be able to do this job. And Lillie, this is the question I wrote down for you. I had questions for everybody. I said, Lillie, can you speak to why it is important for an artist to invest in professional development in their image?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all.
So I knew you would come with this info. How do I know?
So let's just be honest. Professional development is a fancy word for teaching and learning. There is a time that you have to humble yourself and say, you know what? I wasn't the best English student. I wasn't the best math student. I don't know anything about accounting. Hell, I don't even know my own history. Let me consult with someone, right, who can assist me in learning these things. Guys, ask questions. Stop thinking that you can Google everything. Everything on Google is not accurate. Some of us had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this information to give to you. And for God's sake, guys, understand that all the time, you are not going to pay for tangible goods. Sometimes you have to pay for learning. You have to pay for college, right? You're paying for that professor to be able to teach you. If you go to trade school, you're paying for that professor to teach you, or that to be an apprentice. So what I'm saying to you is professional development helps us to be able to provide you with expertise in your specific market or your artistry or your brand or your business. Professional development will help you identify the problems with your brand and help us to recommend solutions for you, and also learn you how to be objective and revitalize your brand, right? So that's why it's important to seek professional development. But the other part of it is, when you know better, you do better. And I don't know about y'all, but that came from my grandma. So it's a lot of components here that I struggle with, because we are in the business of entertainment. I'm in the business of keeping our people from being ignorant. So professional development for me, to the artist, is to keep you from getting scammed and to keep you out of court.
Gotcha.
That's
so
the truth.
to that point, she preaching big. And look, then I had a follow-up question. She kind of Lillie, you be in my questions already. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm just kidding. Because I know for me as a professional, what professional development looks like. And all of y'all can probably answer this question. So a lawyer is going to go to a continuing education class. They're going to be abreast of the new laws. A tax preparer is going to have to read to keep up with their hours of tax preparing account. So can you all speak to actually what does professional development look like for an artist? Does that mean a workshop? Does that mean like what things will they come to you for professional development?
I want to say a lot of what Lillie is speaking of right now in the business, there's not a lot of people like her, myself, that actually teach. So it's good you get into this, because next month I'm starting a workshop for artist development, different components. But a lot of artists are not aware, and there's not a lot of labels that are doing artist development or even professional development to help artists understand what they're doing, to help them learn what they're doing, to help them understand contracts, to know what's faulty, what's not. Don't sign everything when you need a manager. So like those are things that's going to be in my courses. And it would be geared to the student to figure out what direction they want, what do they need help with, and then we're going to assist them to make sure that they're understanding what they got to do. If you need a manager, what is a bio, certain things. This is not taught. It's only a selective few of people that actually want to teach people how to be successful in this business. So I could say that it's not a lot of people doing that when it comes to teaching these artists, and then everybody is picking up this talent of, I'm going to be a rapper today. I'm going to be an actor today. Like, and I'm not going to discourage anyone who chooses to go into any field, but definitely you need to learn a little basics so you can have a little preparation so you're not looking crazy or getting scammed. Because yes, scams is big out here. It's publicists that scam. There's also blogs that scam. So you just have to know and trust people like myself, Lillie, Mr. Young, who's been in the business, that know the different, areas to be able to help you to decipher what's good and what's not. Not
and
everyone
then for those scams,
aware.
Those scams, you have to be careful. So one, anybody who has the time, I know this has been about 4 hour time span, so everybody has not been able to sit down and watch this in its entirety. But the panel before, the gentleman gave a little bit of that advice as well. They also provided 3 to 4 books that you can read that also goes into professional development. The Art of Being, I dropped it in the chat, but it was 3 to 4 books. And they also held them up on the screen. L. Prayers actually went and got his books that's, was instructing artists. So that's what professional development is. Reading a book to help you learn something you didn't learn. And scams. Everybody in the industry don't always have a blue check next to their name. And sometimes a blue check next to their name ain't all the good things. Okay, I'm just putting that out there because there are some people who are using their connection with labels or their jobs to sell services, and they're just taking your money. You ain't gonna be on BET, you ain't gonna be on MTV. So I'm just saying that to say, with what these people are giving this advice, do your fact checking, because a lot of people in the industry that are reputable know each other. So just because somebody has BET, MTV, Sony, and a blue check next to their name, don't always give them your money for a course. Because you were speaking of scams. That's a big scam.
So, let me say this, people. When you are looking for supportive services, stop always going to Instagram. Pick up a book. Go to the website of the entity these people are saying that they work for and find them understaffed. Too many times you guys are on Instagram and you see butt-naked hoes and $100 bills up to people's ears. Let me tell you something. People that really got money don't walk around with wads of cash. Why? Because they swiping. Understand, this is the business of entertainment. I don't wake up like this. Well, I do kind of, because I don't do all that makeup and stuff. But my point is, when I get off of here, I got to write 3 case briefs, right? I got to call my 83-year-old mother that's 6 hours away to make sure she took her medication. Y'all following me? Instagram is not going to show you the process. Talk to people that are showing you the process. Stop talking to these people, butt-naked hoes, not helping them get these millions of dollars that they saying they got. Because let's just talk about what's real in media. I can tell you right now that I've made $30,000 already this year. But guess what? By the time I pay everybody that I have to pay that help me provide services, I might only make $1,000. Do you understand what I'm saying? Stop taking this stuff at face value. The forms of media that a lot of us, and I'm including myself, that a lot of us are on and utilize are forms of entertainment. Take your money and invest in softwares that allow you to find reputable forms of media. Stop trusting everything you see just because somebody say, oh, we had this person on there. I don't care. Understand who you are, understand what you're doing, but for God's sake, understand your why. Because if you don't know your why, the media
will suck you up.
Hello, somebody.
You're going to go I wasn't gonna look, we can't say that because I'm on live, but you know, it's all I read a quote. Direction is often better than speed. You don't want to go the wrong direction fast. So you want to make sure, take your time, do your research, and go in the right direction. You trying to just pay people to get somewhere fast, and you didn't spend all this money. Wyld, I also want you to speak to this because I know you're you're on camera now. What does professional development look like for an artist so they can, I mean, because I don't want to judge anybody's background. We didn't all go to any Ivy League school to learn how to, I don't, y'all weren't on earlier, but I was so proud of one of our artists that made sure they pronounced the word correctly. No shame, you know what I'm saying? We, even the most educated person gets tripped up on words. That's normal, because the word was statistics. He was like, I want to make sure I said that right. Thank you. Archie Lee, straight out of North Dallas. He spelled North Nawf. He don't even spell it the correct way, but we appreciate that because that's part of his brand. So how do artists articulate themselves on camera, that professional development that they can do to do that, while staying true to themselves and their roots, but also coming off just not ignorant and just showing up.
Yeah, they kind of speak to what both Lillie and T was saying. I think that before we even can kind of get to an interview, or whether you're going to be on the camera or on my radio station or whatever it is, that first interaction, that me meeting you in the hallway, that you coming up to me, that how I see you in that room, how you're moving, how you're shaking, whether you're high, whether you're drunk. And that's not me judging you, because look, we all young and we do our thing, but there's a time and a place for everything. I'll tell you, I went to the meetup last night here in Los Angeles. Again, keep in mind, this is Los Angeles. They walked the artist over to me. He came over, introduced himself. Let me tell you, at this point in my life, I've been working for a long time. I don't got time. My question to him was, all right, what you got? That was it. Because you need to, and then I think kind of looking back at what Lillie said, is figuring out who you are, what you want to present to these people before you even walk over and have that conversation. And I'll tell you, that young dude, young Neve, I think was his name last night, he was ready. He knew what he was wanting to say. He was like, look, I got links. This is my Instagram. I can send you my stuff, and not just follow me on social media. Can I get your email? Can I get your contact information? And that, again, shows to that level of like preparation and figuring out before you even can ask, oh, is there a way I can get on the show, or any way you can connect me with that? How was that energy? How was that connection? What were you doing at that time when I saw you? So I think figuring out first what that looks like. And I think that especially for like us, we're working in urban music or hip hop or whatever that thing is, it doesn't mean stripping away your personality, but there's a time and a place for everything. If you wouldn't do it in front of your parents, don't do it over here. And that's probably the most basic way to say it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what you should and should not be doing. And I think like kind of having that mentality walking into any situation is the most helpful.
Right.
And we've seen it happen. I've seen artists come in stations high and interviews high, and they walk out of there and it's like, yeah, we never having that person on again.
And see, once again, I'm sorry, I just love, because I've been here the whole time. I love when our panels mesh and it just creates some synergy with the message that we're trying to give to up and coming artists, to up and coming people in the industry. Derek from the last panel spoke to his festival. He said that's one of the rules. You can pay your money, but you can't come smelling like weed or high. You will not get into this press junket, and you will not get your money back. There's a time and a place for that. We understand this is the hip hop culture. However, he's putting you in front of people that can all catapult your career. So yeah, he said it's on me, but it's not on me. That's you. You paid your money, you here, but this is my brand, this is my entity, and I'm not even gonna waste your time or mine. Like you said, look, what it is, if you've gotten to this point, it's either playtime or it's not. So I'm just so grateful when our panel discussions mesh. Like I said, this is not named the business of music industry panel for no reason. The music is one thing. We have a lot of talented people, but talent plus with no hard work gets you nowhere. They got people that can sing great in the shower, that can rap crazy on their job. But if you don't understand let me say this too. Some people are ignorant. The fact that they just don't know. They didn't come from these worlds. They didn't have access to this information. So they have that raw talent and they have a good heart and they can put that out to the world, but if they don't know how to get anything back for it. They don't know how to be paid for their passion. That's all we're trying to help people do. You want to do it. That's what and I'm a blogger. you know, but a lot of these things still pertain. I thought I just get my clothes together, get a photographer, and go take pictures. I really, at the beginning of things, I really thought that was it. But I had to learn, no, that gets costly. I'm making all these photo shoots, but I'm not making any money. No, I had to strategically place items in my photo shoots. I have to pitch to brands. I have to have my engagement, my numbers, just like artists need an EPK, I need a pitch deck. You know, I need a rate sheet. Cause I had a brand say, oh, we want to work with you, but how? And I'm like, what? You want to work with me, but I didn't have that paperwork to show them. They had already saw the pretty pictures. Like you said, I already know you can rap. I already know you can sing. Okay, what's next? Because they got 100,000 people out there that can do that. So all of these things pertain to different industries. It's still the business behind it. Contracts, Lillie, you spoke to that. And I have to have contracts in place when brands want to use my pictures, for how long, what they can do with the pictures, you know, how much I get paid for it, you know, because honestly, sometimes they could just take it off the internet and I that's just that. And they can make X amount of money off of it. Same thing with people's music. If your music is not licensed, you know, if you don't have rights to that music, it's free game if you put it out on the internet. So that's another thing, Lillie. I'm about to say, that's another thing people need to be wary of with social media, being excited about their art and just putting it out there and then being mad when they're robbed because they didn't take the necessary precautions to protect their brand and their business. But
definitely,
we can talk all day, honey.
Definitely. Is like, if anybody is interested in understanding publishing and licensing and copyright, trademarks, definitely hit me up, because like you said, every artist, and I could tell you even some that are a little established and is getting popular out there, none of them are trademarked. Like, none of their names are trademarked, none of their music is copywritten, oh, their publishing is not intact, and they think, oh, well, let me get that YouTube beat. Oh, so you thought you can actually record on a YouTube beat and just put it out and you can't get sued? You can. So it's a lot of that, and a lot of artists just put music out without doing the basics. So definitely, if anybody want to learn about publishing, owning your masters, and also buying the actual beat, you need to master. Like, you need to get it in a contract, writing from the producer that he's giving you ownership of that beat. Because guess what? In the long run, he's gonna have half that percentage of that beat once you do blow. So I just want to, put that out there. Anybody that's interested in learning that, I'm all here, all ears. Definitely, my workshop will help a lot of people learn how to register music, because people think they could just make thousands of songs and it never has to be registered. It's $85. If you don't have $85 to invest in yourself, then you should be in this business. And I'm just going to keep it real, because if you want to get robbed, I mean, unless you want to be robbed, that's fine with me. But to do it right and to know what you're doing, that's one step to show that you actually care about yourself.
Yeah.
And not that, because guess what? If a DJ registering your music, if it's not registered, DJs, when they spin your music, you'll never get paid because it's not registered correctly. So that's very important. And, again, I'll be doing workshops starting February in regards, and anyone can follow me. I'm gonna put my Instagram and number in the box.
All y'all information in the chat. I know you all have a little bit already, but just in case we have some new people, they didn't check it out before. But that's all I have on questions. But you all gave so much more information than I could have ever imagined. I want each of you to just leave the audience with one thing. How can they use media to their advantage instead of letting media take advantage of them?
You know what? Let me just, I got you. If you don't read the newspaper, you are uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you are misinformed, right? So I say that to say this. The only way to not get taken advantage of by media outlets, and let's just not say media, by the people behind the media outlets, because it's not the media that's doing it, it's the people. Vet your sources. What does that mean? Do your research. contact an established publicist and ask them. Hell, y'all can call me because I'm like the damn FBI when it comes to this entertainment stuff. I got backdoor access to just about anything I need to find out legally. So I say that to say, be as conscious about your media outlets as you are about your significant other's cell phone when you think they're dealing with somebody else. Go and do your research.
Thank you for that, Miss Lillie. Wow, what you got?
I think I would probably say the biggest thing for me, especially with a lot of young artists and especially new artists, because again, if you're new to the game, if you're new in this business, your access or your ability to contact and connect with people on a larger scale are pretty small, but that doesn't limit you in any way. So what I would say is relationships. There is a TMZ-ish entity in every market. I've worked a bunch of places, small towns, big cities. There are urban radio stations in every market. Those people that you meet there and here in 2022 in a few years might be working at a big station in New York City or in Los Angeles. So you never know. So I would probably say start building those relationships with those key figures in media where you are. Start where you are. Don't try to, expand or get yourself stressed out if you can't make it to the people in LA or the radio personalities over here aren't responding to you. Figure out who the people are in your area and work with those key players.
That's good advice. And Tuesday, we're going to let you wrap it up as far as how can artists take advantage of the media instead of letting the media take advantage of the artist.
Like he said, build those relationships. Go to networking events. Get familiar with all media outside. Don't limit yourself, Definitely put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of the camera. This ain't the business if you're going to be shy. So definitely take that opportunity and get to know all the media and definitely want to interview with them. Oh, who's that?
Yeah.
I went to an event one time and I was just interviewing the host and everybody else around me. I was like it was kind of weird because it was like a rush interview for me. Like, all right, let me get them and I'm out. And everybody was like, well, hey, can I get an interview? That made me feel good. That made me feel like, wow, it's great that someone came up to me. So what I told them was, I can't get you tonight, but definitely I'm gonna have you on my show the next time. So stay in contact with me, and here's my number. So when you do see media out there, hey, can I get your number and keep in touch? Can I follow you? Whatever. Make sure you build that relationship with anybody in media. And now, trust me, your path to wanting to be an artist will be very much better than the next person.
And let me tell you, it doesn't just stop at being a newcomer, because you can get old real quick in this industry. I never forget the first time I fell into this thing. I just have a gift of gab. I was literally born with it. My mama used to say, you ain't gonna be no talk show host. And I tell her now, somebody found me and they want to make me a talk show host, mama. But anyways, so I met Michael and we went out to LA, and I was just so surprised to see that the stars of like Love and Hip Hop wanted to interview with us. We didn't have to like convince them who we were or what we did. All they saw a mic and they saw a camera, and they need to stay relevant. So we interviewed Safari. I interviewed Miss Diddy. These people are willing and able to, if those people in those positions are willing to interview with outlets that they may not know a lot about, as a newcomer, you should be willing and able to interview with almost anybody. Because then to Wyld's point, you never know where they're going to be later. You never know what connections they're going to make. Like I said on a previous panel, we all started at zero. When somebody told me that one time, like, I'm a blogger, I need 10K followers. But you can look at the next person and be like, oh my gosh, they have 10K, but they started at zero. All of us started at zero. That person high up, now we may have a few people that had somebody in the industry, an uncle, a father, a mom, what have you, but 98% of people, I would want to say, started at zero. They worked their way up. They got in front of people and they weren't scared. So like I said, if established people want to get in front of GlobeVision, who are you to think that you too scared to get in front of, somebody at a press junket? No, interview with everybody. That's what you're there for. You pay $250 interview with everybody. Take a lunch break, get a snack, get some water, and keep it kicking. But that's all I have for this panel discussion, guys, because we can just keep gabbing. They have already left their information in the chat. And until next time, thanks so much, y'all.
Definitely, you know, be careful. Be careful out there and don't trust everybody.
Don't trust everybody. Not